What's going on, everybody? Sky Gandy, Sports Talk, first ever episode right there. That was the intro music by my main man, Hydration HG over there. So yeah, it's my first little show right here. I'm just gonna make it kind of short, not too awful long. Just talk about one topic only that really I could just do off the top of my head from my opinion and perspective. This is all gonna be an opinion show, pretty much. I mean, I'm gonna throw truth out there for sure and real stats, but I'm also gonna make it my own personal opinion and what I think on certain topics. And so this topic today is my main thing, if anybody knows me personally, and what I'm going to talk about the most is NBA basketball, because that's what I'm very fond of, very big follower of, so that's what I'm going to talk about first and foremost. I will also, big events that happen in any other sports, I will talk about those, but not most of the time. I'll bring in other people maybe to talk about it with me or whatever, but most of the time it's going to be about NBA basketball. And the first topic, short topic here in the first show, is going to be about the playoff picture. As if you're following the NBA with me, you know that it's about to be mid-season. All-Star game is coming up. Probably going to make a little short video about the All-Star reserves, who I think should have been or are going to be, because they're announcing the reserves tonight on TNT at 8 o'clock, Thursday night, Eastern Time. So I really was late on that specific topic, so I have to catch that one maybe next year. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna go into the playoff picture. I'm gonna log on to NBA.com real quick and give y'all an update of what the standings are looking like. And there are some surprise teams, but there's also some dominant teams that everybody knew were gonna be on top. And we're going to start in the Eastern Conference. You see Indiana's holding that top spot at 35-9. They're kind of been not necessarily surprised, but a surprise of how good and dominant they are. I mean, a lot of people knew Miami and Indiana would be the top two this year, but I didn't think they thought or knew that Indiana would be as dominant as a team as they are. And they are playing some great basketball right now. They're number one. Miami's number two. My thoughts on that team, they've been kind of looking like a team that's not had much motivation after winning back-to-back championships, so we'll get to talking about that later on. At number 3, the surpriser, Toronto Raptors are 24-21 on the year and holding down the third spot just because they have the Atlantic Division title, which is a weak conference. I'll get to that one day. At number 4, Atlanta Hawks, hoping they make the playoffs, because if they clinch home berth, I'm going to the first playoff game. So I'm kind of rooting for the Hawks a little bit to make the playoffs for sure. At number 5, the Chicago Bulls are still pressing on, even with all the injuries, especially to their main all-star Derrick Rose. Number 6, Washington Wizards. They are a great young bunch of guys with John Wall and Bradley Beal in the backcourt, and since the return of Nene, they've been excellent. At number 7, the Brooklyn Nets, a team that's turned it on as of late after a very rough start under rookie head coach Jason Kidd and has been playing some good basketball. And at number 8, we have the Charlotte Bobcats, who has also been kind of that number 8 seed's kind of like, anybody can really get it at this point. And 2 games back from it are Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks. My New York Knicks, by the way. And then we got the Cleveland Cavaliers, Philadelphia 76ers, Boston Celtics, Orlando Magic, and rounding out the worst record in the league at 8-37 is the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as we go along, and now we're going to go ahead and go over to the Western Conference top 8 and the whole standings right here. As you see, Oklahoma City number 1 with the best record in the league, 37-10. Kevin Durant has been playing like a monster. If you've seen the past, I think he's on like a 12-game streak of 30-plus points straight. And at number 2 in the West, the San Antonio Spurs they just keep pressing, excuse that notification. But number 2 is the San Antonio Spurs, like I was saying. They're an old team, but they're a veteran team and know what they're doing. They're on a 3-game losing streak, but I don't expect that to last too long with the Spurs. At number 3, Portland Trail Blazers, the surprise team of the year at 33-13 as well. And they've been a dominant team, and I enjoy watching them. I've watched a couple of games of them. They're really fun to watch. I think they can make some noise. And by the way, as I'm going through this Western Conference, this is one of the toughest conferences ever. They have a lot of young talent in this conference, a lot of veterans too. And if you make if you know, the worst team in the West could be in consideration for the 8th seed in the East. I mean, that's how deep the West is. So here we go, continuing forward. At number 4, the LA Clippers. They have been a team that's kind of shocked me to still be this high up with Chris Paul being out for a long period of time. Blake Griffin, even though to me he is overrated a lot, I mean, you can't deny that he's been putting up some good numbers in the absence of Chris Paul. At number 5, the Houston Rockets with Dwight Howard and James Harden leading the way. They've been a good team. At number 6, the Phoenix Suns. They've been a real surprise team, especially with Bledsoe going down with injury. Dragic and the other guys have been able to keep pressing forward and get some W's for that Suns organization. At number 7, the Golden State Warriors. That's one of my main Western Conference teams. I really enjoy watching them. They're probably the most entertaining team to watch with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Iguodala, David Lee, Bogut. All those guys are just so much fun to watch. At number 8, the Dallas Mavericks. Dirk holding it down for Dallas right now in the West. Only a half game back from that 8th seed is the Memphis Grizzlies. Minnesota Timberwolves right behind them, only 2 games back. Denver Nuggets only 2.5 games back from the 8th seed. They're 500 right now at 22-22. The New Orleans Pelicans, one of the teams I predicted to be in the top 8 at the beginning of the year, kind of been on and off, but they have Anthony Davis. You know, he's been injured. Tyreek Evans has been injured. Drew Holiday has been injured. All the guys have been injured on that. Ryan Anderson went out. So you have to see what they do when everybody's completely healthy. And then rounding it out, Utah Jazz, LA Lakers, and the Sacramento Kings. Alright guys, so that's the current standings right now as we approach almost the mid-season point of the year. And I'm just going to give you my predictions of who I think will be the 1 through 8 come playoff time. And this is just my opinion and my say on who goes where and what seeding happens. So we're going to start off in the weaker conference, the Eastern Conference, which may be a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead. I think Indiana will, at number 1, will round out the number 1 overall seed. I don't see them falling unless they try to rest some guys at the end of the year. But they don't have an older team, so I don't see them doing that. I think the Indiana Pacers will definitely round out the number 1 seed with Miami somewhat struggling right now. So I think the Indiana Pacers will definitely round out the number 1 seed. At number 2, I see Miami there. I mean, like I said, they're really the only 2 dominant teams in the East. Miami's going to be number 2 for sure. And a little touch on that, like I said, they have been struggling, but you can't deny LeBron James has been really playing great. Chris Bosh has been playing great the last 5 or 10 games that I've seen the stat line. I don't really watch none of their games unless, it's on ESPN or something every now and then. But they've been playing some great basketball, and I can see them, trying to turn it on in the playoffs. They need to turn it on right now. Dwayne Wade he's just getting over the hill right now, and I think he's towards the end of his career in the next 4 to 5 years. I don't see him doing much like he used to, the old Wade. So they're going to have to make a decision here going into free agency with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James, all free agents, what they're going to need to do if they want to three-peat this season and also for the future to come. At number 3, I'm going to move Atlanta up 1 spot to the 3 seed, and I'm not biased just because I want to go to the playoff game. I just think Atlanta's a good team, and they fought with adversity this season with Al Horford going down with injuries. Paul Millsap's been playing great basketball, all-star basketball. Jeff Teague has been playing phenomenal as well, and a lot of guys that are no-namers have really stepped up, like Piro Antic. Nobody knows who that guy is, but he's been playing great. He's a rookie. And DeMarre Carroll's really giving that defensive edge. So I'm going to put Atlanta up at the 3rd seed. At number 4, I think Chicago will move up to number 4 because I just think they'll be able to fight through adversity with injuries and all. They did it all last year, and I think they can do it this year as well. With Joakim Noah, his energy just driving that Bulls team. They have other options on that team. With Jimmy Butler, I expected a leap year for him this year, up in his game, but it didn't happen. But I could see it happening next year, possibly. They might bring in Carmelo as a star. They're talking about bringing in D-Wade. Not sure if that'll hurt his development or if it'll make him develop even more. But I expect them to be the 4 seed. At number 5, I expect the Brooklyn Nets to jump to the number 5 seed because on talent alone, you can't deny that they're going to win some ball games here because they have And that's really a lot of the disappointment with the New York teams is they have been hit with a lot of injuries. If you look at Brooklyn, Darren Williams has been hurt, Paul Pierce has been hurt, Brook Lopez is still hurt and out, and they're still winning ball games. Same with New York. Tyson Chandler missed 20 games. Raymond Felton's been hurt. Pergione's been hurt. Bargnani just went out with an injury. So, I mean, you got to look at the injuries as well and take that into consideration while these teams have been losing some ball games. And I mean, it's not just that, it's other problems too. But I think both of those teams will definitely turn around. But back to the Nets, they definitely will capture that 5 seed, and they'll play the Chicago Bulls again in the first round series. And the talent alone, I think KG and Paul Pierce in the playoffs with their experience, along with just the talent of Brook Lopez and Darren Williams and Joe Johnson, they're going to probably beat the Bulls. I mean, I'll get to my playoff predictions probably next episode. But that definitely will be the 5th seed. At number 6, I say New York will climb up to the number 6 seed, not being biased at all, but I just look at the team's roster and just can't see them not make the playoffs with the team they have. And I hope they do that, because I'm a Knicks fan, like I said. And Carmelo, if you look at the stats and if you ever watch one of their games, you can't deny Carmelo has been beasting and feasting on the opponents almost night in and night out. And he keeps pressing. He hasn't blamed it on anything. He's a guy that's averaging like 26 and 10 right now. And there's nobody else on his team to really help him. But I watched the Knicks play the Celtics. I believe it was Tuesday night. I watched just the third quarter because I had to work that night, but I watched that game, and just the team play when Chandler and Pergione's in the game is just phenomenal, and I hope they can get back to the Knicks of last year. That, to me, they will be the 6th seed if they can play like the Knicks of last year, so that's what I'm predicting right now. At number 7, I see the Toronto Raptors because they have been winning ball games, but I just don't see the Cinderella story giving them the 3rd seed. I think Brooklyn will capture the division title and be, the team. Oh, by the way, I forgot that the division title winner gets a home court advantage, so I'll put Brooklyn at 4, Chicago at 5. Sorry about that. New York at 6, and Toronto at 7, because I just don't see him. I mean, DeMar DeRozan has been incredible, Kyle Lowry, and to be able to ship out as many people as they have and just bring in a bunch of role players, they've really meshed as a group, and there will be a playoff team for sure, but they just won't be the 3rd seed. At number 8, I put the Washington Wizards. They're just great talent-wise. I watched a couple of their games, and John Wall looks amazing. Bradley Beal did amazing against my Knicks when I watched them play them. With Nene back, they've been winning ball games. So that's my predictions for the East is Indiana 1, Miami 2, Atlanta 3, Brooklyn 4, Chicago 5, New York 6, Toronto 7th, and Washington 8th. So that's the Eastern Conference predictions by Sky Gandy. Now on to the Western Conference. Now this is going to be really difficult to predict because, like I said, it's a tough Western Conference and you never know what team's going to do what. But I do have my number 1 seed definitely. Like, that was one that I could have went through with 4 different teams or even 5 different teams in the West who could have got the number 1 seed. But now, as I'm seeing what Kevin Durant's doing with the Oklahoma City Thunder, I definitely think they'll round out the best record in the league as well as the best record in the West and be the number 1 seed overall and get that Northwest Division title. Kevin Durant is definitely the MVP this year. He has been balling out, and most valuable player, that's what the MVP represents, and Kevin Durant has been the MVP of his team. To be able, with Russell Westbrook, the secondary star, going out, he has put the team on his shoulders and has been phenomenal for OKC, and I definitely say they will be the number 1 seed overall. At number 2, I predict the San Antonio Spurs to carry on that number 2 seed because they're a veteran team. Greg Popovich knows what he's doing. They'll be able to press in the playoffs and make some noise for sure. I think the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and all those other guys, Kawhi Leonard, will be able to get some stuff done. At number 3, I'm going to put the LA Clippers at number 3 because when Chris Paul returns after the All-Star break, I think they'll get a lot of wins and be able to secure that Pacific Division title for sure. And they'll be the number 3 seed in the West with Blake Griffin and Chris Paul in Lob City. At number 4, I got the Portland Trail Blazers because they just been playing phenomenal like I said before. with LaMarcus Aldridge playing like an MVP, Damian Lillard playing like an MVP, and Nicholas Batum as an all-star, Wesley Matthews jumped to improvement this year. Portland's been playing phenomenal. They definitely will be the 4th seed in the West. At number 5, I'm going to keep Houston at number 5 because they're a team that's been real streaky. They've either won a lot in a row or either lost a lot in a row. And with James, they have to solidify who's the man in Houston. Is it James Harden and Dwight Howard? But they have made it a very good combo, whether or not they have solidified who's the true star there with Dwight Howard and James Harden. And Chandler Parsons has really stepped up and become one of the best small forwards in the game. To me, probably a top 10 small forward for sure. So that's my number 5 team is the Houston Rockets. And number 6, I'm going to put Golden State at number 6. I really would put them higher, but with the way they've been playing, they've also been kind of like Houston, either lost or won a lot in a row. But I think that Golden State could really make some noise in the playoffs and try to get past the first round, and probably, if they fight hard enough, and they have all the tools to be a great championship team, they have to just put them together and put them at use, because they have that good inside-out offense with Steph Curry on the outside, with David Lee on the inside, Klay Thompson as well. They have a pretty good bench, but I think they can make some noise. But I'm going to put them at 6 right now just for the regular season numbers. So that's where Golden State is for me, my Western Conference team. At number 7, and this is where it gets tricky because any other of these teams could really be put right there at number 7 and 8. But I'm going to put at number 7 the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they'll be able to make the playoffs. With Marc Gasol's return and Zebo, he's playing better here recently, and Mike Conley really developing as a top 10 point guard. I think they will definitely be able to do it up there in Memphis. And, it is a tough Western Conference, so it's going to be hard for them to try to press for that last seed, but I think they can definitely do it. They had adversity injury with Marc Gasol, but I think they'll be able to push forward and get that 7th seed. And at number 8, this is hard, because I see a bunch of teams right here in Dallas, Phoenix, Minnesota, Denver, New Orleans. But I'm going to give it to, and it really just, it's anybody's game. I'm just thinking, I'm going to give the edge to Minnesota just on Kevin Love alone. I mean, he's been an incredible power forward to me. He's the best power forward in the league. I know LaMarcus Aldridge has been doing his thing, but to me, Kevin Love overall, every aspect of his game, rebounding, scoring, three-point shooting, all of that, he is the best power forward in the game. Kevin Martin, if he can stay consistent, he's that secondary guy on that team. Rubio controlling the offense, Nikola Pekovic in the middle. I think they'll get the 8th seed, and I think that'll round out the Western Conference. But like I said, that's a tough choice for that 8th seed. I mean, Phoenix, they've been playing great, but I just see it ending sometime soon. It might not. They might be able to hold on to their seeding, but I just see Phoenix ending. I think Dallas is just a little bit, they don't have enough yet. The same with New Orleans, and Denver is probably my 9th seed. They can fight with Minnesota. Either one of any of those teams can make the 8th seed. I'm not really sure, guys, but that's just my take on it. So there you have it. That's my 1 through 8 of the Eastern and Western Conference. If you enjoy these type of videos about the NBA or sports in general, hit that like button. Comment what you want to hear next. But that's all for right now, guys, on the Sky Gandy Sports Show. I'll hear from you later.